We back, man. We got kicked off. You know how that goes when you start getting down to the good part. They try to kick you off. But before we was abruptly, we stopped at we're talking about the national side, is where the laws of freedom, the laws that protect our members, citizens and students, the full process of proclamating. I don't know, Mo, man. Sometimes a lot of people say, man, it's signal. I have no idea. But a lot of times, what I do a lot of times is record these lectures and then I just upload them on YouTube. But a lot of my people like to hear it live because I have other people in different states on different platforms that they, at different temples, they upload it for their students. Why, so that's why I go live. But a lot of times I'm going to record them and just put them up. But until we figure out things, that's what's going to happen. But I apologize, family. But the national side is where the laws of freedom, the laws that protect our members, citizens, and students, the full process of proclaiming your nationality, and the laws that give us the right to do everything we need to do in order to build a nation and government in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, with privileges, immunities, and protections. The laws of freedom involve the 4 proclamations of Abraham Lincoln, the 13th Amendment with 20 sections, not to be confused with the 13th Amendment with 2 sections, most of today. Listen to me, Moorish, for we won't get caught up in the bull crap. Listen to it. The laws, all you got to do is research it. If I ask everybody to research, if you don't research and you don't know real history, then that's just what it is. The Hebrew codes that pertains to the freedom as shown by Leviticus. If you have paperwork, if you have with all your adoption papers, with all your dispensation paperwork on it, you will know what I'm talking about. If you don't, then wait. The Hebrew codes that pertain to the freedom as shown by Leviticus 25, written on the Liberty Bell. Understand how the Moorish National Bureau of Statistics work. How it was set up by Grand Sheiks. Dean Gale, you can reach all this stuff up by going to the Pentagon to speak to the military on the naturalization and recording process for all Moorish Americans to come back lawfully into the constitutional fold and union and correct their status, religion, race, name, birth certificate, and jurisdiction. If you don't know that, I'm sorry. If you don't know that, it's nothing that I can do. That's why when I tell more science is not about no religion. If you say you understand the divine and the civics, then you should understand international law. If not, it ain't really nothing to talk about. But for all Moorish Americans to come back lawfully into the constitutional fold and union and correct their status, religion, race, name, birth certificate, and jurisdiction, and really understand what our Holy Quran Moorish literature, what our one-on-one questionnaire is, our authority, our charter, warrant, and dispensation, and our divine constitution and bylaws is really saying, especially the degrees in Act 6. If Moors say they Moors and they don't understand, and they don't read the Circle 7 Quran and understand what Act 6 is, they just be operating on their own understanding, on their religious dogma, like there's some privileged. When I show you, if a Moor talking and they don't want to show you what it's all about, and they don't tell you what the freedom of national republic, the 1774, the U.S. President Abraham Lincoln, 1863, what an amnesty of oath is, they should have it. This is what it is. I, Khari Goodman Bey, do solemnly affirm in presence of Almighty God that I will henceforth faithfully support, protect, and defend and the Constitution of the United States and the Union of the States thereunder, and that I will in like manner abide by the faithfully support all the acts of Congress passed during the existing rebellion with reference to slaves, so long for as not repealed, modified, or held void by Congress or by decision of the Supreme Court, and that I will in like manner abide by and faithfully support all proclamations of the President made during the existing rebellion having reference to slaves, so long so for as not modified or declared void by decision of the Supreme Court, so help me God. So when I ask Moorish, research what an amnesty oath is. When they just be talking, man. Research what an amnesty oath is. These are things that they research what Our noble decree, we the Supreme Grand Body and Grand Council of the Moorish Science Temple of America, grant sovereign powers by the God Allah and his illustrious prophet Noble Jur Ali, greeting to whom it may concern, by the powers of this charter or warrant and dispensation, this Supreme Grand Body bestow a title of nobility to member Kari Hakeem Goodman Bey, that is a descendant from the royal house of Judah and the house of David. I mean, I can go on and on. I can go on and on. By the powers of the decree, it is so ordered and commanded by our illustrious prophet Noble Jur Ali to register all nobles of the house of El to their title of nobility pursuant to Leviticus 25 and 10. By the powers of this decree, it is so ordered and commanded by our illustrious prophet Noble Jur Ali, pursuant to the authority, all Moorish Americans are exempt from persecution except of murder or rape. And I hope y'all know what that means. My 720 Allah dispensation papers. And I'm just showing copies because I have a lot of my stuff locked up in my safe. Oh well. May Allah bless and protect always be upon the house of Bey, title of nobility, certificate Kari Goodman Bey, registry of the noble of Bey, a descendant of the royal house of Judah. House of Bey, title of nobility, 720 Moorish Americans. They're showing this, I show and improve. So when Moors be saying what and this, that, and the other, I'm like, you should know what I'm talking about. By the power of this decree is so ordered and commanded by our illustrious prophet Noble Jur Ali to register all nobles of the house of Bey to their nobility pursuant to Leviticus 25 and 10. By the powers of this decree, it is so ordered and commanded by our illustrious prophet Noble Jur Ali, Moorish Americans are of the royal house of Judah, descendants of King David. I mean, if a Moor don't know what I'm talking about, then I'm sorry. If a Moor don't know what I'm talking about, then I'm sorry. May Allah bless and protect always be upon the house of Bey, title of nobility, certificate, Noble Kari Goodman Bey, registry of the noble house of Bey, a descendant of the royal house of Judah. So when Moors be talking, and they be saying, what this, what's this, I don't understand that. I say, well, how comes Moorish? We the Supreme Grand Power to infer degrees of said temple upon any person or persons duly proposed, qualified. Listen clear. Listen clear. 720 degrees is hereby granted. I repeat. This is the dominion of Cush, north and east, south, west, with his father's dominion of old Africa. Old man Cush and his family are the inhabitants of Africa who came from the land of Canaan. Pursuant to U.S. Department of Justice, BM, HR 1WD 144-35-0 agreement. So when Moors be talking that stuff, they don't know what I'm talking about. I don't see why not. Because they're trying to get you into some religious dogma. I'm telling you, man, ain't no secret. Every Moorish, everything that I have, they say they this and that, you should have it. Muslim missionary degrees, degree certification. Supreme Grand Body and Supreme Grand Council of Moorish Science Temple of America in Mecca have been vested with sovereign powers by the great God Allah and his illustrious prophet Noble Jur Ali to confer degrees of a Muslim of the West to a person or persons that has been raised 180 degrees from a shadow grave, son of a widow in the North Gate. I, Noble Kari Goodman Bey, my obligations as a Muslim missionary by free will, the obligation of the nobility of the elect of the Moorish Science Temple of America, teaching the Asiatic of North, South, and Central America to love instead of hate. As I travel the burning sand from the east to the west in 39 celestial steps, with my staff of comfort, my companion, the beast of burden, and my Hebrew master logo of perfection, I do here upon my holy Quran, Circle 7, demonstrate my degrees to raise fallen humanity from its imperfections with the degrees of social duties, justice, charity, gratitude, and sincerity. In my travels, Allah guide my feet in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and I shall not give ear to falsehood, hypocrisy, and deceit. As I travel the burning sands, I possess my charter of warrant and dispensation, my authority to pass through all ports unmolested with my divine rights and privileges. All sons of a Muslim must hold true to his obligation to nobles, Muslims, and the Muhammadan by words and deeds. So when Moors talk that stuff, when I travel, I always I'm welcome in all houses. That's why certain places I don't go where where it's not real. Just what it is, man. My Moorish Science Temple of my baptism certificate. One that possesses this baptism certificate has been redeemed by illustrious Prophet Noble Ali and delivered by a absolute deed that restore all rights and property. Said person has been revoked from the St. Peter's Trust and the Magna Carta charter Christian enrollment that held my person in bondage. I am a Muslim of the West, a descendant of Moroccans and born in America. We, the Supreme Grand Body, bestow privilege and benefits and grant dispensation of said person by an original inhabitant in the north and southwest shores of Amexima. We even got adoption papers, but I'm not going to even pull all my adoption papers out. We even got adoption papers. I'm not even going to pull all the adoption papers out, Morris. Hold on, I got someone coming up. Hold on. Hold on, I got it. 1 second, Morris. Hold on. Can you pull out? Can you pull up front? Can you pull up front? All right, family, we back. We back. We back. Some of that stuff, man, they not telling you the truth. We have adoption paperwork, everything. I show and approve. I show you how to do everything. Nothing's a secret with me. Nothing's in the secret with me. I showed you our amnesty oath. Read what an amnesty oath. I showed you my noble degree. I showed you my title of nobility. Registered of the noble house of Bay, a descendant of the royal house of Judah. So let me get back to my demonstration. Moors. That's why there are, and I gotta be honest, it's a few more science temples that are not being political. There are some that only deal with the divine side and not teaching the national side. Well, I teach, and they choose to navigate, you know? So let's talk about some stuff. Let's talk about the Moorish science and what it's really about. About taking a look at the laws of freedom, naturalization, constitutional law, and understanding on how to solve or how to save themselves with the protection of a temple and by not taking a proper look at what the national side is about. You got to look at the national side. You got to look at the local, the state, and the federal agencies and what's going on. We got Moors, let's say Moorish in America. We are Moorish Americans. So let's clear up some confusion. So let's deal with those that call themselves sovereign citizens. And through the study of law and what our Prophet Noble Ali, if you're reading right, if you're studying right, and if you're operating in your higher self, the only true creditor, members, and citizens in his movement are his heirs. Prophet Noble Ali demonstrated this by how he registered our movement, our Holy Quran Moors. One-on-one questionnaire on divine constitution, our bylaws, right? No one individually can be a sovereign and unity in a nation. So I mean, the movement. You got to understand what the Dred Scott is: a sovereign community, a body politic. We the people, not an individual Moors. So the language that some of our people wish to use will do nothing but get them jammed up in the end, I promise you. That's confused legal jargon, being a paper terrorist, delusions of grandeur, or being a sovereign in black. I hope you're following the context, what I'm going. Studying the language of our prophet is a key, Moors. The language, the context, as a prophet, an adept, an angel, Moors, or individuals who wish to use like Native American, Native Indian, American Indian, American Aboriginal, First People, First Nation, Indigenous, Paleo, Pre-Adamitic, Autotoxin, etc. in their documents to prove that is who they are, not dealing with specifics, not general specifics and history on who they really are Moors. Neither do they understand the language and information of what our Prophet Noble Drew Ali was stating in chapters 45 and 47 in our Moorish Holy Quran. And 12 in our 101 questions. Those listed that I gave, it described the Moor and the Moorish Americans and does not have any holistic saving power. So the de facto jurisdiction will be able to find a way to get jurisdiction or break treaties. So if Moors don't understand what I'm saying, I'm sorry. When Moors be like, what am I talking about? I say, how you don't know what I'm talking about if you don't study in law? I study law. When I'm in the indigenous people law and policy, I wear my fez, but I come in peace. I'm welcome in all houses. I'm telling you, man, but it is what it is. So what I said about UCCs, Uniform Commercial Codes, it's a trap. You don't believe me? Let somebody how you feeling and seeing and what I say. By studying the timeline, one will see that the UCC was formed to counteract what our Prophet Noble Drew Ali have done, which is to take hold of the land, resource, and we have the mandate to prove it. I'm telling you, man. The UCC was birthed in 1942. Understand the language. Crystallized in 1952. Is fashioned or ancient laws in this day and time for our salvation. Also using the UCC and the UCC1 filing to secure straw man from law, and people be saying this and they get their feelings, they get all personal with it. I just laugh. I say the law and the truth has no size. You must understand the full color of the law. Where is one of my other my book? When I break this that, I say, man, a trustee on the law of identification by George Harris. So if you're not understanding reading law and understanding what it's all about, then somebody just connotating you with their dogma. It was explained earlier in what I talk about the true creditor is, which is Prophet Noble Drew Ali, and when Moors and those unnaturalized, you can look in Black Law's Dictionary, the 9th edition, for the definition of unnaturalized. Research that. Come under the temple and Moorish government, they will be protected and under the umbrella of the true creditor. It just is. Dealing with the United Nations declarations, what Moors have to ask themselves is, do the United Nations have a charter? The answer is yes, Moors. Then you have to ask yourself, if the Moorish Science Temple have a charter, when you compare them, which language supersedes the other? It will be clear that the Moorish Science Temple charter is higher than the charter. So the United Nations charter, it will be clear Moors do not know or understand the national side of movement or what our Prophet Noble Drew Ali taught. Where in my book, The Law, Freedom, and Bondage at? Where is my other history? When I talk about stuff, anyway, an alliance. So if you listen to what a lot of my lectures, when I speak civics in my classes, and you understand what it's all about, law and history, you will see that we do not teach or promote such acts or actions. We teach what our founder has highlighted. When I say the Prophet built the house, all we got to do is live in it. And it can be confirmed in research that we are part and parcel of the said government. We strive to be better civilization under the Hebrew codes that Ali has stated. Study includes coming back into the Union and no longer being rebellion as by one of 4 proclamations of Abraham Lincoln called the Proclamation of Amnesty and Reconstruction. I hope you know that. I hope you know what that is. The Moorish Science movement is no way against the said government. We are part and parcel of the said government. We are for enforcing the laws to save the nation, upholding constitutional laws. Proclamations of Abraham Lincoln, 13th Amendment with 20 sections teaching law and adhering to what our founder, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, has stated in his laws. Moors, I hereby what? I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical agitating speeches while at work, their homes, or in the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. They call destruction. Remember your card is for salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequences. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice must take its course. Y'all know what I'm saying? The organization of the Moorish Science Temple of America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the law and constitution of the said government. Come on, man. Right? So when I talk about the national movement, I'm not mixing with other temples that preach dogma and they saying this and that and they lying and people that print cards with autotoxin and all that. That ain't what this is about. I'm not down with no groups or no calling themselves some sovereign citizen movement. People's telling you how not to pay taxes. Only one way. You got to be an organized nation. I'm an organization. People not telling you. Research a group called the Paradigm Group in Canada. A European man, when he was talking about, he's showing people how not to pay taxes and see what happened. You got to understand business. You got to be a nonprofit organization, a charter community. But that's over Negroes' heads. I'm a 99th primitive right of Memphis and Mizraim. I'm a 99th primitive right of Memphis and Mizraim. All the science came from Moors. Our prophet passed through the adapt chamber through the shrine. That's why I tell Moors there is no longer any, when a person asks us, does a Moorish American should seek to become Masons and Shriners? I say no. Why? Tiber and the Mithra, which is the turban, on our capital, which is the crown, and gave us the science. We should understand this. If we don't understand what I'm talking about, then that's messed up. Our prophet traveled by compass and square. And if in our Circle 7 Quran chapter 5, I think it's verse 10 through 11, it talks about our compass and our workman tools. Hey, Empress. But I'm not under no sign no sacred being dear to the heart, and we explain it. But I'll sign under no European masonry. That's why a lot of brothers and sisters, I see them. They talk kind of like, brother, it's a lot of things that you teach that we can't. I say, yeah, I know why. Because you're European masonry, I'm not. That's good, Empress. Right, 99th primitive right, Memphis and Mizraim. We teach the science, connecting God in one. Adapt science, the triple roles. I have elders. So I teach the science, and degrees from universities, and the adapt wisdom, and in metaphysics. So we got to know that. We got to know that science, man. Research Angelo Solomon was. This is all come from Moors. I teach about the ancient mystics. I teach about the ancient mystics. No more, no Moors. It's not. It's not. I'm talking about something higher. We agree, but it's higher than that. We all of that. That's why when I say we don't put ourselves in particular categories where we miss the essence of everything. We're all of that. We are adapts, and if we understand what an adapt is. But we must know that science, man. We gotta know that for a fact. So one of my brothers was asking me, okay, I got you, Mo. I'm just gonna give this little bit of this wisdom pertaining to metaphysics, pertaining to your brain, and then we out of here. So we can know I got you, bro. When I talk about certain things and how we get caught up, and a lot of Moors don't understand the esoteric and the exoteric, and how things are being explained. When I speak on Gematria, and when I speak on how certain things are in code, and when I speak on the Kabbalah and the Kemetic science and the 7 Kemetic principles, Moors should understand what I'm talking about. But in the Hebrew Bible of the Old Testament and in the New Testament, the Holy of Holies, the Kodesh, the Kodesham, it sits behind the 2 pillars and refers to the inner sanctuary of where God was believed to be present. And it is further described. See, more we're talking. It's so much. If you follow my lectures, man, when we talk about, we got to understand the esoteric and the exoteric of science. One, Jesus is Greek. So when we talk about Hebrew prophets, when we look at biblical scriptures, Acts 24 and 5, it gets to talking about nationality. So-called 12 disciples, we talk about, but also, but whatever we get to, we have to understand the analogy parable of what's being taught. So please understand that. I'm not here to make a person believe anything. What I'm here to challenge you to study. When you look at map, when you look at ancient things, when you look at certain names that's in the Bibles that we might not read, like in the old Hebrew text, you hear Abyssinia, and Abyssinia is Ethiopia, and you're looking for the wrong names because you're looking at a lot of European names. A lot of the things that in the Bible it talks about, like Serapis Christos, which is the Greek perspective of Jesus. How when Alexander the Greek went over to Egypt and he wanted to make a pharaoh of himself. A lot more is also in Greek. When I talk about the Baphomet, research what the Baphomet is in Greek. That's the pan, nothing evil. All through science, it prays the black god. It's all an allegory trick. It's all a European Masonic trick. The melanin and the black is there. I can go on and on with the allegorical stories and the science. When I see Moors with the turban and the fez on, it should be something under that. The European and the Mason and the Lodge, they study all our science. That's why Al-Islam, that's why Mecca, that's why Algeria, that's why Muhammad, that's why all that is on the fez. Because they have the 32 and 33 degrees, which is nothing but material wisdom, which in meteorologists, I call you a snowman. They become shrine when they come higher. And they become sons of Muslims, and they practice Al-Islam. I'm telling you, man, and they bow down to Muslims. I know this. I teach them. I go to a lot of the places. I come in peace, man. I'm a teacher. And all across the board, I'm recognized. It's just what it is. But it is further described as an inner shrine housing the Ark of the 2 Covenant guarded by the 2 winged golden cherubim, the allegory story that you see. And the outer cherubim, which is the holy place. When I show you the charts, watch this. Things just need to be explained. Things just need to be explained. Look, when we talk about the covenant guarded by the 2 winged gold cherubim and the outer chamber, the holy place with the golden lampstand, table showbread, and the altar of the incense. You see this? Moors. We talk science, man. We show everything what I talk about. Man made in the image of Elohim by the pattern of the tabernacle. Everything in the biblical scriptures is talking about your body. If you don't know that, then you don't understand language. You're not a linguistic. You're not a historian. You're not a master mason, a master Moorish mason. Understanding the 360 and 720. You got the holy place, the most holy place, and a quarter roundabout. You got the bone structure of a man. Presents the pillars, bars, and the boards in the tabernacle. Everything you're talking about in the biblical Bible, in the scriptures, when it's talking about the tabernacle, when it's talking about the tabernacle and all that built without hands, he's talking about the physical body, Moors. I'm telling you. I'll show you something else too. The Moor just said about the Luxor. I'm gonna show you something else. Let me see if I can find it. I have a lot. I think it's upstairs. Hey, Empress, I have that wisdom too about the luxury that man made in the image of God. I have to pull that down for you. If brothers don't have that book, that wisdom, the temple of luxury is man made in the image of God. And I show so many signs and symbols in there. You know what I mean? I show so many signs and symbols in there. So let me see. I hope my empress hear me, and I have her bring that wisdom down. It's called the man-made image of God, and it breaks down the temple of luxury and everything down. Anyway, so let's finish. But the two pillars of the two pillars, and refers to the inner sanctuary of the tabernacle where God was believed to be present, Moors. It is further described as the inner shrine housing the Ark of the Covenant, guarded by the two-winged golden cherubim, and the outer chamber, the holy place, with a golden lampstand, the table of showbread, and the altar of incense. Yeah. That's what I just showed, Moors. Yeah, but I also have it in book form too. Exactly. I'll show you again. But we don't understand that. I teach a lot of metaphysics and wisdom, man. So it's so much stuff that we break the stories down. How we can break things down and see and trace lineages. So when we talk about things, that's why certain preachers and things, they won't talk about the generations of Yahshua or which Jesus, which is Yahshua, because it breaks down. We talk about genealogy and geographical landmass. They don't want to talk about Ruth. They don't want to talk about all the Moabites. That's why in the biblical scriptures you can find in Deuteronomy, it says that a Canaanite cannot enter the kingdom of God. They're talking about you, but they're really saying an Amorite and a Moabite. You got to know what that is. So we can break everything down. We can break everything down and connect it to the body, to the temple, to everything, all the allegorical stories. Everything that's been connotated. I teach science. I don't get caught up with dogma. I teach you all the signs and symbols of the primordial man and let you know what all this wisdom is about. It's about saving yourself. No one takes you through the adapt chamber. I have the adapt chamber wisdom, and I give it to you. You know? Yeah. So it's just certain elements. And degrees that we can break, that show people and break down to the physical body. Everything we talk is the physical body, and the mind, Moors. And see, with Manly P. Hall, like I'm part of the Philosophical Society, and I teach there. There's a lot of holy books there. They got a big Buddha with a lot of wisdom books there. But see, when I go there, the European Masons, they bow down, you know, because I teach the higher science. I teach the higher science. When I go to the Philosophical Society, I teach. I have a lot of ancient wisdom about the United States, how things were set up, about Moorish science, how noble duality was hidden in history. I don't argue. I save myself and my students. We break things down. We explain allegorical stories, what a cardinal ordinance is, and what all that stuff that you think is something outside of yourself. We break all this stuff down, man. Moors. So when the Moor comes with a lack of wisdom and coming when they lower self, I don't deal with that, man. I just teach from all perspectives. Same thing. You see what I'm saying? So if Moors don't have the science and understand the wisdom, something wrong. Something wrong. I teach science, man. And that's how I've overcame a lot, you know? I'm an organized nation. I'm in Arizona, but I'm from a little place called Flint, Michigan. I operate nonprofit organization, the Burning Bush Tabernacle Science Temple and School here in Arizona, Las Vegas, and Michigan. And back in my home state, we're buying stuff in our neighborhood, old abandoned property and houses, and hopefully everything go right. We're gonna have a charter community. That's what being an organization is. That's what being a charter community. But more is always just lying and stuff and not research. I'm in Phoenix, Arizona, man. I'm in Phoenix, Arizona. But let's finish this teaching. But in the Hebrew Bible, the Kodesh, what I told you, where it sits besides, right? So, the two pillars is talking about this. Well, I'm in Arizona, man. I'm in Phoenix. You know, Tolleson. I was right in Tolleson, man. Actually, I was in Litchfield. But I travel all over doing lectures, man. I was just in Tucson lecturing with some brothers. But I tell family, let's build. I mean, I have a real school. I teach at the YMCA a couple days a week. And then I teach here at my place. I have a whole library. I have printing press. I have t-shirt things in here and stuff. Yes, I'm a detail that soon after it's over. I have online students. And I tell brothers and sisters, you can look me up. I have a bachelor's in hermetic science, connotated as hermetic science. It is not only a man-made building or structure, but also part of human body. And that in science we can simply call the tabernacle our skull, which holds the chalice for our brain, with the winged gold cherubim guarding our thoughts, being our hippocampus or our Amen's horn, Moorish, a subject that I've spoken about plenty times. Research it. I've done that. All you have to do, like I say, is hit me up direct. Our office number is 702-272-4775. I give you all the information. You make your ID card for our school. Not no Moorish ID. Because if you want a more, I'll show you how to do it the right way. But I have a real school. And you can get your ID to the Burning Bush Tabernacle Science Temple and School. Just like you get an ID card from Indiana School. But on the back of our school ID, you would be sending your dues in every month, which is only $50. What comes with that more is you get books, you get the research that I have. Because you send it in. Anything extra that you wanted, you just send the payment in and say, hey, more, these are the books. You highlight them books. These are the books I want. You download the Cash App to your phone with the office number. Tell me what you want. That's attached to the $30. And I send you all the literature that we print or the books. It's that simple. It comes with a tracking number and a tax receipt. I done sold over my arm. Baker Books tried to buy me out and buy, but I ain't rolling with that. I do things on my own. But the winged golden cherubim guard our thoughts, being our hippocampus or Amen's horn. And I spoke upon this plenty times, family. So this is the beginning, the explanation of the hidden. You see what I'm saying? It is great, man. All over the nation. What I do, I travel all over as a business and do things. So, I mean, I commend brothers that's doing what they do great. I commend it. But in the brain of man, between the wings of kneeling cherubim, and remember what I talk about. So when brothers is giving wisdom, exactly applicable. You must be able to apply this to your life. And if it's not being applied, then none of it makes sense. Understanding who you are is not having the things on this earth, because if we understand the higher science, the same thing on the earth. So nothing on earth is bad. And that's another allegorical story. But in that mercy seat, man speaks to his higher self. And see, and when brothers say teach, and see, that's why certain brothers I don't deal with, they say teach, don't sell. I'm an author. Do we go to work and say, okay, well, brother, work for free. If you were a trainer, would you train and do all your training for free? I have a MRP. And if brothers don't want to buy the product, that's, I don't want to throw. But in wisdom offers to say, hey, you should sell your wisdom for free. We don't tell nobody wisdom for free. I have a family, and the Spirit has given me something to do, and I'm a philosopher and a teacher. Man, I have books. About how to set up your 501c3. I have books how to set up your nonprofit, and all my books are on GCU campus in the business division. So I make a living, and so it is what it is. It is what it is, family. But blessings to all brothers. I come in peace, and I love all my family. But man is, again, in the ark, and within him are the three principles. We got to understand that synchronicity of law, the pot of manna, the rod that budded. So we got to understand things when we talk about crystallized, the pot of that budded. Now, our was the tablets or the tables of leather. When the individual crystallizes and excludes various sidelights from his mind, he excludes the life force which was flowing inside of us, Moors. Is shedding out strangers. He shouts out life. He has left out the tables of the law, Moors, the material reasons for which the spiritual life has gone. So we can connect the temple, the blueprint. We can connect the Luxor. We connect the temple of man, the heart. Historians understand this now, and we teach the Gnosis. In the Bible, place of the, this is the exact location where Jesus, which is that's where the blood fed on Adam's skull, restoring Adam. When I talk about the alchemical process, turning to consciousness and operating total 720, when one of the secrets in life in the Kemetic principles, the law of attraction. How do you attract things to you? People, well, it's not. Our brain hippocampus research, it pertains to the past life memories. It relates to our blood, that with Jesus, which is Yahshua, that fell into Adam's skull. The ancients and many philosophers have long known that the blood is our mind, Moors, where we obtain our consciousness, and also the seed of our soul. The esoteric teachings encoded into these biblical stories that many people fail to learn. Who has fully realized that history is not contained in thick books, Moors, but lives, or it lives. I can show you pictures of Joss, the logos at Golgotha, and you can see the skulls toward the bottom with the red veil. Within the painting, this image is related. Research that story of the Galarka, the place of the skull, and I can show you the allegorical story, how Jesus was crucified, derived from the word crucifix, a cross with the corpus, body of Christ. The modern Christian cross is a sign of warfare, and which is a latter version of the original ancient true cross known as the Taui of the ancient Egyptians, the Greeks, and the Druids, which is a symbol to represent the logos. The meaning of the logos is reason, a word of God per se, which then can be easily connected to what we know as Gnosis. Also in philosophy, more in circa 535. So when I close, and the Bible in Deuteronomy 4:16-18, stating that the Israelites are forbidden making any hidden allegories. In plain view, a lot of stuff I'm gonna play the film tomorrow, Africans of Asia, and I'm gonna show you a lot of stuff that's in stone. I'll show you places in Asia. Where is that? Let me find that before I close. Oh man, where is that? Where's the map so I can show you? I'm about ready. Trying to find that one.
You what?
Oh well, Morris, I can't find it, man, but it's in here somewhere. I'll pull it up for you later. But I challenge you all to study, research, and stay in your higher self. And if any more telling you something, tell them to show you. And if they get mad, then you know what it is. I love you all. Love, truth, peace, freedom, justice, health, wealth.